everyone and welcome back to the channel for today's video. So in today's video I'm going to be doing some decoration with Mirabel's Casita house. Obviously I've had this in many different places in my valley ever since she came to the game a long time ago, but I recently did my farm up in Sunlit Plateau, which I have posted a video for, so if you haven't seen that the link is in the description. But I knew I wanted her house to be next to this and it's quite a small space, so I had to kind of get the farm orchard mapped in before putting her house in. So I've decided to put it on this final spot that I have on the left hand side of my Sunlit Plateau and create a really simple build for her. So let's get started. So as you can see, to start off with, I am working with a very small space here. I felt like it kind of would be a little bit of a challenge for me to be able to fit this into this small of a space, and also probably would benefit maybe those of you who are on a lower item limit, because obviously there's only so much I can use in such a small space. But one of the key components I do use in this is the Casita walls from the premium shop. So if you don't have these yet, there are definitely other walls and fences you could use instead. There's obviously the craftable fences that are accessible to everyone, but I obviously wanted to use these walls because they match with her house perfectly and obviously go with the vibe of everything we're creating. So I started mapping those in, trying to get them into good places and make sure I had enough room to fit this house in because it is absolutely massive. Now once I'd added the walls in and kind of got them into the space I wanted to, I then added in some of the little pathway stones. You could also use the ones that are just in the furniture menu anyway, but these are the ones from the Oasis Retreat Star Path. And then I started adding in some foliage to the pathway into her house. I knew this was going to be quite a simple path. It was just going to be surrounded by some different foliage and trees, nothing too major. So I started kind of adding those in, figuring out where I wanted to put things around the walls, and then obviously eventually I will start putting some trees behind her house as well. Now when it came to the actual interior part of the garden, I knew I wanted to include a casita table so that I could obviously have it be kind of like a traditional table similar to the one in the movie, which obviously we have a lot of furniture for, and I also wanted to include a little like washing line area just to feel very homely and family kind of vibes. So I started kind of figuring out where I wanted those furniture pieces to go, started mix and matching where I was putting everything, and obviously having a play around with how much space I had. Now obviously for Mirabelle's home, I tend to like making it very floral, so I added in a bunch of different floral items we have, including the craftable little flower pots. I just feel like the orange of the flower pots goes so well with the theme of her home anyway, and also I just like the idea of Mirabelle having flowers everywhere. I think it just kind of fits her vibe. So there was a lot of floral things that I ended up adding, and used kind of a floral heavy build, but also wanted to make sure I had enough room for all the other elements as well. For the final touches, I added in some grass in and outside of the casita walls. I wanted it to feel very overgrown in here and keep the kind of theme of the Sunlit Plateau with having some of that grass in there, as well as some of the long beach grass, and then added in the final few trees and pieces of foliage into those gaps I felt like just needed a little bit more colour, and a little bit more kind of vibrant things going on. So here's the final build. As you can see, we are on the pathway outside the front, and if we go through the casita walls, we have just a really small little entrance into the house. Obviously you could definitely extend this and make this longer, but I obviously was doing kind of the challenge of getting into a small space, so it is quite a small entrance, but I've added in some flower beds to obviously add to that floral theme. And then as we go in, we've got the casita table, which I've popped some food and drinks on, which I feel like is just perfect for Mirabelle and her family to hang out at. And then we've got the little washing line at the back with the wash basket, which I feel like just fits so well with the theme of her home. Obviously there's a lot of flowers and overgrown plants in here. That was kind of the main thing I wanted to capture in her house, and obviously I feel like this is just a really simple way to be able to decorate. If you don't have a lot of furniture, or a lot of the kind of Encanto furniture, we don't actually have that much of it in game, but I obviously wanted to utilize what we did have. But I hope you guys did enjoy this kind of like little mini build of her home. As I said, I never really know where to put her home. I've had it in so many different places, and I just felt like this spot in Sunlit was quite quaint, and I wanted to kind of challenge myself with putting a house this big in a space this small. But I'm kind of happy with how it turned out. But let me know down below what you think, where you have Mirabelle's house in your valley, and make sure you like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!